Yo, 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 what is up for another episode of Monday with Molly? December. As per usual, you're on YouTube, you know what to do. If these videos are helping you and the people you care about, please like, share, subscribe. That's the whole purpose of doing them in the first place. And we're almost done with the year, so we're almost done with the videos. So, today's video topic is called Nothing Has Meaning Except the Meaning You give it. Nothing has meaning except the meaning you give it. Now, full disclosure, I have probably made a video about this before. I did not look at my topic spreadsheet to see if it was recent or not. I'm sure I've mentioned it recently, yet it bears repeating. So, especially as we come to the end of a year, let alone this year, 2020. So what got me thinking about this, two things. One, as I went for a walk with a friend the other day and we were talking about some things she's going through, and it just something had come up, and that was one of the things I said that I learned from Tony Robbins was nothing has meaning except the meaning you give it. And she had heard it and she was like, oh yeah, I heard you say that before. And so we got talking about it to help kind of clarify something. And then I experienced that today too, because where I live in the Northeast, we really haven't had any snow. I mean, a couple flurries, but nothing's really stuck. So it's important to get ready to transition to winter. So I was cleaning out my garage, and I was like letting the gas run on my lawnmower, sweeping the leaves out, bringing the snowblower out, even though I barely use it because I like to shovel. Shocking. I also like to have really straight lines in my driveway when I shovel. A snowblower doesn't give you those. Too much information? You're welcome. So I had to make sure the snowblower had gas in it, and it was starting and everything. So it's definitely a transition time. But where that falls into this topic is a couple of things. Well, first of all, my grandpa, he bought me the lawnmower because he knows I like to shovel, but he also thinks it's ridiculous that I never snowblow. So I always make sure that I use a snowblower at least once a winter, just as a little like homage to him. Like, I know I'm using it, I'm stubborn, but I like to work out. I know, thank you. So that's why I get the snowblower going. But also I was actually getting a little sentimental, a little emotional cleaning out my garage, which I enjoy doing. But because he kind of taught me how to do that stuff, like why you run the gas out and why you want to make sure the snowblower has gas before it's the first snow, and just keeping the garage tidy. And he'd always come in after I would do that for him, and he'd say, that's a good job done. And that was one of his sayings. He said, that's a good job done. And so it just kind of made me reflect, like, here I am, dust is flying, and it's cold out today. And I'm just really in the moment, but embracing and feeling a little sentimental, because that has meaning for me. That might be a terrible chore for someone else, like you hope your partner or your spouse or the kids or someone does it. I enjoy it because the meaning that has for me is connection with my grandpa. In addition to that, when he had passed away, my oldest brother and I were co-executors of the will, and we were going through all his stuff, and my grandma passed away a couple years before, and they were the only ones that lived in their house. They had a lot of stuff, not like in a hoarding way, just they had a lot of stuff. They were the only ones that lived in their house, and a lot of really nice stuff. And so this is great. So at one point we had all of so we're Irish, and my grandma was born in Ireland. So she had a lot of Balik china, which is from Ireland, with like shamrocks and different Irishy things. And so my brother had them all laying out on the floor, and he's like, hey, these with this label on the back are like the newer ones, but these with this color print or imprint on the back saying the company is like, they're more expensive and they're more delicate and they're older. Which ones do you want? And he's 8 years old and 8 years older than me. And I looked at him, I was like, none of them? He's like, we gotta take one. So I took this little shamrocky thing. I'm like, you can like have all the china, you could have all the crystal, and one of the crystals, a Waterford crystal bowl is called the Kennedy bowl, which was always on their dining room table. It's very pretty. I have no use for it. So for me, none of that had meaning for me. None of it. It did have meaning for him, and he lived with them for a while. So I get why that would have more meaning to him. For me, I was like, you can take all the china and the crystal and all the pretty things. I'm going to the basement to get some of Grandpa's tools. I'm going to the garage to get some of his tools. I would like his extension cords because mine were all like kind of kinky. His are all neat and pristine. Yes, I said a pristine extension cord because I love doing yard work. And whenever I'm outside doing yard work and I've got my edger or the leaf blower and I plug it into that extension cord, that's a way I connect with him. That has meaning for me. That might be ridiculous to other people, but that comes back to the message of today. Nothing has meaning except the meaning you give it. So as we're in December now, 2020 will come to an end. The pandemic won't be quite over yet. Probably, I think we have till probably June with vaccines and whatever people are doing with vaccines and everything. But as a year usually ends and we reflect back, what meaning are you giving your experience in 2020? Look, we could say all kinds of terrible things about it and they would all be probably pretty accurate. And that's fair and that's okay. I never say put your head in the sand. But in addition, what meaning are you giving other productive or positive things that happened that you took from it? I know I have a lot of friends who, for especially in the summer, they were able to finally slow down. They weren't carpooling their kids everywhere. Spending more time with their family. They're giving a lot of meaning to that. Like that was a really great time during this terrible pandemic. So what is it for you that you're giving meaning to this year? And furthermore, let's just go, I like to do levels deep here. It's what meaning are you giving to anything or everything on a daily basis? The person cuts you off to get to the red light first, and you give it this terrible meaning like, what a jerk, he or she must, ba, 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 ba. Or is the meaning, oh geez, maybe they just found out the loved one's in the hospital and they're in a rush to get there, and maybe they weren't paying attention. That's with everything. We give meaning to everything, and only you can. That's why some things bother people that don't bother others. Some things that used to bother me don't bother me anymore. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. And that's part of evolving also. But that is one mindset and strategy for me that's really worked in the past, I think 4 years since I learned it from Tony Robbins. When if I'm in a dark place or spiraling or just and I go, okay, what meaning am I giving this right now? What meaning am I giving this? And is it accurate? Is it a fair representation? Did I take something too far? Am I not caring enough? And just asking that to myself, which you can do too, just say, what meaning am I giving this? I bet more often than not really a betting woman, but if I was, and I'm certainly not going into a casino right now, I bet if you ask yourself, what meaning are you giving this? I bet, especially if you're like rattled or angry or frustrated, I bet you're giving it too much meaning or too much negative meaning or too much influence or power over your emotions. At least that's been my experience. So next time you find yourself in a rough spot with someone, with an experience, with an interaction, just ask yourself, what meaning am I giving this? Because nothing has meaning except the meaning I give it. Nothing has meaning except the meaning you give it. So maybe we flip our 20 and change the meaning. That changes everything. Because life is all about perspective. All right, my friends, that's what I have for you today. Have a great week. I will see you at the end of the week for the next Flip Your 20 Friday. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Peace.